Security Officer Taeho walked down the long hallway of the diplomatic ship. His boots made soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. The alien quarters were always quiet at this time of day. Most of the visiting dignitaries were either sleeping or in their meditation chambers. Taeho had been doing this job for 3 years now. He protected important aliens who came to make peace deals with humans. It was boring most of the time, but the pay was good. His family back on Earth needed the money. The lights suddenly flickered. Then they went completely dark. "What the hell?" Taeho muttered, pulling out his emergency flashlight. The ship's power systems were supposed to be perfect. Nothing like, "This should happen during a diplomatic mission." His radio crackled to life. "Security team, we have a power surge in Section C. Check all the rooms and make sure our guests are safe." Taeho sighed. Section C was exactly where he was standing. He started checking each room, knocking politely on the doors. Most of the aliens answered quickly, saying they were fine. When he reached the end of the hallway, he heard a strange humming sound coming from behind a door marked with alien symbols. The door was slightly open, which was weird. These VIP doors were always locked tight. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. The humming got louder. It sounded like some kind of machine was broken. Taeho knew he had to check it out. If something was wrong with the alien technology, it could be dangerous for everyone on the ship. He pushed the door open slowly. Steam filled the room, making it hard to see anything. The air smelled like flowers and something sweet he couldn't identify. Blue lights glowed softly through the mist. "Is anyone in here?" Taeho called again, stepping inside. That's when the steam cleared. Princess Nara stood in the center of a large, shallow pool. Her purple skin seemed to glow in the blue light. She was completely naked, with water dripping from her long silver hair. Strange symbols glowed on her arms and face. This was clearly some kind of religious ceremony. For a moment, neither of them moved. Taeho's eyes went wide with shock. Princess Nara stared back at him, her large golden eyes showing surprise and something else he couldn't read. "Oh God, I'm so sorry." Taeho spun around immediately, covering his eyes with his hands. "I didn't know anyone was in here. The door was open, and I heard strange sounds and thought something was broken." Behind him, he heard Princess Nara say something in her own language. Her voice sounded calm, but there was an edge to it that made his stomach drop. "I'm leaving right now." Taeho backed toward the door, still not looking. "Please forgive me, Your Highness. This was completely by accident." As he reached the doorway, 2 tall alien guards appeared. They wore the traditional blue armor of Nara's Royal Protection Unit. Their faces looked very serious. "Human," one of them said in heavily accented English. "You will come with us. Now." "Wait, what? Why?" Taeho's heart started beating faster. "It was an accident. I was just checking for damage after the power surge." The second guard stepped closer. "You have seen the princess during sacred cleansing. This is forbidden by ancient law." Taeho felt his blood turn cold. He had heard stories about alien laws being very different from human laws. Some of them had punishments that were much worse than anything humans did. "Look, I can explain everything," he said, raising his hands to show he wasn't dangerous. "I'm just doing my job. I was ordered to check all the rooms after the power failure." The guards looked at each other and spoke quickly in their own language. Princess Nara had put on a long robe and walked over to them. She was even more beautiful up close, but Taeho tried not to look directly at her. She spoke to her guards in their language, then turned to Taeho. "You will wait in holding room," she said in careful English. "Council of Elders must decide your fate." "My fate?" Taeho's voice came out higher than he wanted. "What do you mean, my fate?" But the guards were already leading him away. The holding room was small and cold. Taeho sat on a metal bench, staring at the wall. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. 3 hours had passed since the guards brought him here. No one would tell him what was happening. The door finally opened. Ambassador Sora walked in, followed by a very tall alien wearing fancy robes covered in golden symbols. The alien's skin was the same purple color as Princess Nara's, but his face looked much older and more serious. "Taeho," Ambassador Sora said, sitting down across from him. "This is Elder Yijun. He's here to explain the situation." Elder Yijun studied Taeho with bright yellow eyes. When he spoke, his voice was deep and slow. "Human, do you understand what you have done?" I made a mistake, Teho said quickly. I was just doing my job. The power went out and I was checking the rooms. I didn't know Princess Nara was in there. I'm really sorry. The elder nodded slowly. Your intentions do not matter. Only your actions matter. You have violated the sacred code of our people. Ambassador Sora leaned forward. Elder Yijun, surely we can work something out. Tai Ho is a good man. He's never been in trouble before. This was clearly an accident. There are no accidents, Elder Yijun said firmly. Everything happens for a reason. The sacred code is very clear about this situation. Teho felt his stomach twist into knots. What does the code say? Elder Yijun stood up and began walking around the small room. Long ago, our ancestors made laws to protect the honor of royal women. A princess must remain pure and sacred until marriage. If any man sees her unclothed during the cleansing ritual, it means her purity has been compromised. But I didn't mean to see anything, Teho protested. I looked away as soon as I realized what was happening. It does not matter, the elder continued. The moment your eyes touched her sacred form, the law was broken. Now there are only two ways to restore balance. Ambassador Sora grabbed Teho's arm. What are the two ways? Elder Yijun stopped walking and looked directly at Teho. Death or marriage? The room went completely silent. Teho felt like he couldn't breathe. Death, he whispered. You must die to preserve the princess's honor, Elder Yijun explained calmly. Or you must marry her to make the violation acceptable under our law. Ambassador Sora jumped up from her chair. That's insane. You can't kill someone for an accident. And you can't force two people from different species to get married. I do not force anything, Elder Yijun said. I only explain the law. The choice belongs to the human. Teho put his head in his hands. This couldn't be real. Yesterday he was just a regular security guard. Now he had to choose between dying or marrying an alien princess he had never even talked to. How long do I have to decide? He asked. 3 days, Elder Yijun replied. During this time you and Princess Nara must meet together. She must also agree to the marriage if you choose that path. If she refuses, then death is the only option. Ambassador Sora started pacing around the room. There has to be another way. What if we pay compensation? Or if Teho does some kind of service for your people? Elder Yijun shook his head. The sacred code cannot be changed. It has been our law for over 1,000 years. If we ignore it now, our entire society will lose respect for tradition. Teho looked up at the alien elder. What if I refuse both? Options? What if I just try to leave? Then our warriors will hunt you across the galaxy, Elder Yijun said simply. There is no way you can hide from the consequences of breaking sacred law. Ambassador Sora sat back down, looking defeated. Teho, I'm going to contact Earth immediately. Maybe our government can put pressure on them to find another solution. There is no other solution, Elder Yijun said. But I will give you some advice, human. Princess Nara is not what you think. She is intelligent and kind. Many men in our society would consider marriage to her a great honor. But I don't know her, Teho said, and she's an alien. How could we ever make a marriage work? Elder Yijun smiled for the first time. Perhaps you should ask her that question yourself. Your first meeting with the princess is tomorrow morning. The meeting room looked like something from a fancy hotel. Soft purple lights glowed from the ceiling, and comfortable chairs sat around a small table. 2 guards stood by the door, watching everything. Teho arrived first. His palms were sweaty, and his heart was beating fast. He had barely slept last night thinking about this moment. What do you say to an alien princess you might have to marry to stay alive? The door opened and Princess Nara walked in. She wore a simple white dress that covered her from neck to ankles. Her silver hair was pulled back, and she looked much more normal than she had during the ritual, but her golden eyes still made Teho nervous. Please sit, she said in English, pointing to the chair across from her. Teho sat down carefully. Your Highness, I want to apologize again for yesterday. I never meant for any of this to happen. Princess Nara tilted her head, studying his face. You apologize many times. This is interesting. Interesting. My people do not apologize for things that are meant to happen. We believe everything follows a plan, Teho frowned. But it was an accident. The power went out, I heard strange noises, and I thought something was broken. I was just trying to help. Princess Nara leaned forward. You heard danger, and you ran toward it, not away from it. Why? Because that's my job. I protect people on this ship. Even people you do not know, even aliens. Of course, Teho said without thinking. Everyone deserves to be safe. Princess Nara smiled for the first time. This is very human thinking. My people would only help their own families in such situations. They sat quietly for a moment. Teho noticed that Princess Nara kept staring at him, like he was some kind of puzzle she was trying to solve. Can I ask you something? He said. Yes. Do you really want to marry me, or are you just following the law too? Princess Nara was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I have been studying humans for many years. Studying us? Your species fascinates me. You are so unpredictable. My people plan everything centuries in advance. We know exactly what will happen each day. But humans, you make decisions in the moment. You adapt, you survive in ways that should be impossible. Teho wasn't sure if that was a compliment or not. Is that good or bad? It is remarkable, Princess Nara said, her eyes lighting up. Do you know what happened to my people after we became so advanced? We became boring. Nothing new happens anymore. No surprises, no discoveries. We just follow the same patterns our ancestors created. That sounds peaceful, Teho said. Princess Nara shook her head. It is like being dead while still breathing. But humans, you create chaos wherever you go. And from that chaos comes amazing things. Chaos isn't always good, Teho pointed out. Sometimes it gets people hurt. Yes, but it also gets people saved. Like yesterday. You heard chaos and you investigated. Another species would have called for help and waited. You acted immediately. Teho started to understand what she meant. So you don't think I'm just some primitive alien? Primitive? Princess Nara laughed. Your species survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters that would have destroyed my people. You went from caves to spaceships in just a few thousand years. We took millions of years to do the same thing. But you have better technology than us. We inherited our technology from our ancestors. Humans invented yours through trial and error. You failed many times, but you never gave up. That. Fear's not primitive. That is strength. Teho felt a little better. At least she didn't think he was some kind of barbarian. Can I ask you something now? Princess Nara said. Sure. Are you afraid of me? Teho thought about it honestly. A little. You're royalty, and you're from a completely different world. I don't know your customs or how to act around you. Good, she said, surprising him. Good. Fear keeps you alert. My people stopped being afraid of anything long ago. Now we are weak because we never expect danger. One of the guards said something in their language. Princess Nara nodded. Our time is finished for today, she told Teho. Tomorrow we will meet again, Princess Nara, Teho said as she stood up. If we do get married, what would happen? I mean, would I have to live on your planet? Would I ever see my family again? Princess Nara paused at the door. Those are good questions. Tomorrow, instead of talking about the past, let us talk about the future. After she left, Teho sat alone for a few minutes. The conversation had gone better than expected. Princess Nara wasn't the cold alien royal he had imagined. She seemed genuinely curious about humans and even respected them. But marriage was still a huge step. Even if she was nice, they were from completely different worlds. The second meeting felt less awkward. Teho brought a small tablet with pictures from Earth, and Princess Nara had prepared some kind of alien tea that actually tasted pretty good. I want to show you something, Princess Nara said, pulling out a device that looked like a crystal cube. She touched it and holographic images appeared in the air above the table. Wow, Teho whispered, watching the 3D pictures move around them. This is my home city, Princess Nara explained. The hologram showed massive towers reaching into purple clouds, with flying vehicles moving in perfect patterns between them. It has looked exactly like this for 3,000 years. 3,000 years, nothing has changed at all. Nothing. Every building, every street, every transport route is the same. My great-great-grandmother could visit today and find her way around perfectly. Tejo studied the images. The city was beautiful, but something felt wrong about it. Where are all the people? What do you mean? I see the vehicles moving, but I don't see people walking around. No crowds, no markets, no parks where families hang out. Princess Nara looked surprised. People do not hang out in public spaces. Everyone follows their assigned schedules: work, home, meditation, sleep, the same routine every day. That sounds horrible, Tejo said without thinking, then immediately felt bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult your culture. No, you are right, Princess Nara sighed. It is horrible, but no one knows how to change it anymore. Tejo touched his tablet and showed her pictures of his hometown in Korea. This is where I grew up. See how different it looks from these older photos. The pictures showed the same neighborhood across different decades. New buildings appeared, old ones were torn down or renovated. Street art changed, shops opened and closed, parks were redesigned. Everything changes constantly, Princess Nara observed. Yeah, sometimes too fast. My favorite noodle shop from when I was a kid got replaced by a coffee chain last year. I was really sad about that. But new coffee shop might be good too. Actually, it is pretty good, Tejo admitted. The owner is this young woman who used to work at a fancy hotel. She makes these amazing pastries that no one in the neighborhood had ever tried before. Princess Nara leaned forward, fascinated. So change brought something new and better. Not always. Sometimes change sucks, but usually if something changes, it means people wanted it to change. The coffee shop owner saw an opportunity and took a risk. Risk, Princess Nara repeated the word slowly. My people have eliminated all risk from our lives. How? Advanced computers predict everything. They tell us what job to do, who to marry, where to live, even what to eat each day. No one ever has to make difficult choices anymore. Tejo tried to imagine living like that. Don't people get bored? Very bored. But boredom is better than failure, according to our leaders. Is it, though? Tejo asked. I mean, I failed at lots of things. I wanted to be a pilot, but I failed the advanced flight tests, so I became a security officer instead. Now I really like my job. You chose a different path after failure? Yeah, that's what humans do. When something doesn't work, we try something else. Princess Nara was quiet for a long time, thinking. Finally, she said, what if our marriage could be like that? What do you mean? What if we don't follow the traditional rules? What if we create something new? Tejo felt his heart speed up. You mean you actually want to marry me? I want to. Try something that has never been tried before. A union between two species who think completely differently. But what would that look like? Would we live on Earth or your planet? Princess Nara smiled. Why not both? And why not other places, too? We could travel together, learn from different cultures, share ideas. Your people would allow that. If I am married to you, I will have fulfilled my obligation to the sacred code. After that, we can write our own rules. Tejo started to get excited. You know, there are lots of human colonies that could benefit from your advanced technology, and maybe your people could learn some things from us too. Like what? Like how to take risks, how to adapt when things go wrong, how to find opportunities in unexpected places. Princess Nara's golden eyes were practically glowing now. Yes, and you could learn our patience, our planning abilities, our scientific knowledge. This is crazy, Tejo said, but he was smiling. Good. Crazy or bad crazy? Good crazy, I think, really good crazy. Princess Nara reached across the table and took his hand. Her skin was warm and soft, not cold like he had expected. Tejo, I need to tell you something important. Even if we decide to marry, it will not be easy. Many people in both our societies will not understand. They will say we are making a mistake. Let them talk, Tejo said, surprising himself with how confident he sounded. If it works out, we'll prove them wrong. If it doesn't work out, at least we tried something new. Princess Nara squeezed his hand. Very human thinking. Is that bad? No, she said. I think it might be exactly what the galaxy needs. The news hit the galactic networks like a bomb exploding. Within hours, Every major planet knew about the human security guard who might marry an alien princess. Taeho's picture was everywhere, along with headlines that made his stomach turn. Human contaminates royal bloodline, alien princess forced to marry primitive species. The end of pure royal heritage. Taeho sat in his quarters scrolling through the news feeds on his tablet. Each story was worse than the last. Some called him a spy who planned the whole thing. Others said he was taking advantage of ancient laws to get rich and powerful. Ambassador Sora knocked on his door. "Taeho, we need to talk." She came in looking tired and stressed. "The situation is getting bad, really bad." "I can see that," Taeho said, showing her his tablet. "Half the galaxy thinks I'm some kind of criminal. It's worse than just bad publicity. Princess Nara's cousin, Prince Wu Jin, is leading a political movement against the marriage. He's claiming that mixing human blood with royal alien blood will weaken their entire species." Taeho felt sick. "What does that mean for us?" "It means they're trying to change the law. If Prince Wu Jin gets enough support, they might decide. That death is the only acceptable option." Before Taeho could respond, his tablet started buzzing with emergency alerts. A live news broadcast was starting from the alien homeworld. Prince Wu Jin appeared on screen. He was tall and elegant, wearing traditional royal robes covered in silver symbols. His purple skin seemed to glow under the studio lights, and his voice was smooth and confident. "My fellow citizens," Prince Wu Jin began, "we face a crisis that threatens everything our ancestors built. For thousands of years, our royal bloodline has remained pure and strong. Now, because of one careless moment, we are expected to pollute that bloodline with inferior human genetics." Taeho felt his face getting hot with anger. "Inferior? Who? Is he calling inferior?" Ambassador Sora put her hand on his shoulder. "Stay calm, getting angry won't help," Prince Wu Jin continued his speech. "Humans are a chaotic species. They fight wars, destroy their environment and make decisions based on emotions rather than logic. Is this really what we want in our royal family?" The camera switched to show crowds of aliens holding signs. Some supported Prince Wu Jin, but others held signs defending Princess Nara's right to choose her own husband. "At least some of them are on our side," Taeho said. "Look at this part," Ambassador Sora said, pointing to another section of the crowd. A group of aliens wearing black military uniforms stood together, chanting something in their own language. Their leader was a scarred warrior with cybernetic implants covering half his face. "That's General Do-hyun," Ambassador Sora explained. "He leads the military faction that wants to expand their empire by conquering other planets. He sees this controversy as a perfect opportunity to gain power." On screen, General Do-hyun stepped up to a microphone. "Prince Wu Jin speaks the truth about human contamination, but he does not go far enough. This incident proves that our current leaders are weak. They cannot even protect a royal princess from a single human guard." The crowd of military supporters cheered loudly. "If our leaders are too weak to maintain order," General Do-hyun continued, "then perhaps it is time for new leadership. Leadership that will restore our strength and expand our influence across the galaxy." Ambassador Sora turned off the tablet. "Do you see what's happening? Your accidental encounter with Princess Nara has triggered a political crisis that could lead to civil war." Taeho put his head in his hands. "This is insane. All I did was check a room after a power failure." "I know, but that doesn't matter now. The question is, what are we going to do about it?" "What can we do? I'm just one person." "Actually, you're more powerful than you think. The whole galaxy is watching this story. If you and Princess Nara handle this right, you could turn public opinion in your favor." Taeho's tablet buzzed again. This time it was a private message from Princess Nara. "Emergency meeting tonight. Secret location. Come alone. Trust no one else." Ambassador Sora read the message over his shoulder. "That sounds dangerous." "Everything about this situation is dangerous," Taeho replied. "But if Princess Nara has a plan, I need to hear it." "What if it's a trap? What if Prince Wu Jin or General Do-hyun is using her to get to you?" Taeho thought about the conversations he'd had with Princess Nara over the past few days. She had been honest and genuine with him. More than that, she had shown real excitement about the possibility of creating something new together. "I trust her," he said finally. Your life might depend on that trust being right. My life already depends on it, Taeho said. If I'm going to die anyway, I'd rather die trying to make something good happen than hiding in fear. Ambassador Sora sighed. You're starting to sound like her. All this talk about taking risks and creating change. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. The secret meeting was supposed to happen in the ship's old storage bay. Taeho made his way through the dark corridors, trying to stay quiet. Princess Nara had said to come alone, but something felt wrong. The ship was too quiet tonight. He reached the storage bay and found Princess Nara waiting by a stack of supply crates. She looked nervous, constantly glancing at the doorway. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "We need to discuss our options." Before suddenly the lights went out completely. Emergency red lights started flashing and an alarm began blaring throughout the ship. "What's happening?" Taeho shouted over the noise. Princess Nara grabbed his arm. "We've been betrayed. Someone told them about our meeting." The storage bay door exploded inward. Smoke filled the air as armed figures in black uniforms stormed inside. Taeho could see the glowing symbols on their armor. These were General Do-hyun's soldiers. "Princess Nara," a voice called through the smoke. "Step away from the human. You are coming with us." "I will not abandon him," Princess Nara replied firmly. "Then you will both die." The soldiers raised their energy weapons. Taeho could see the blue glow building up as they prepared to fire. He had maybe 3 seconds to think of something. Looking around frantically, Taeho spotted a fire extinguisher mounted on the wall. He grabbed it and sprayed it directly at the soldiers. White foam shot everywhere, covering their face masks and making it impossible for them to see clearly. "This way," he yelled to Princess Nara, pulling her behind a row of supply crates. Energy blasts started flying through the air, melting holes in the metal walls. The soldiers were shooting blindly now, trying to hit them through the foam. "How do we get out?" "Of here?" Princess Nara whispered. Taeho looked around the storage bay. There was only one exit, and the soldiers were blocking it. But above them he could see an air vent that might be big enough to crawl through. "Can you climb?" he asked. "Yes, but how do we reach it?" Taeho started stacking supply crates on top of each other, building a makeshift ladder. The soldiers were starting to clear the foam from their masks and their shots were getting more accurate. "Hurry," Princess Nara urged. "I'm trying," Taeho grunted, lifting a heavy crate. "Your people make everything so damn heavy." One of the energy blasts hit the crate next to his head, sending sparks flying. The soldiers had found their position. "Princess, surrender now and we will not harm you," the lead soldier called out. "Human tactics are illogical," another soldier said. "He cannot escape. We should surround the area and wait." But Taeho wasn't done yet. He grabbed a handful of small metal tools from one of the supply crates and started throwing them at the soldiers. The tools bounced harmlessly off their armor, but they created enough distraction for him to finish building his ladder. "Go," he told Princess Nara, helping her climb up the stacked crates. She reached the air vent and started working on the cover. "It's locked from the inside." "Use this," Taeho said, handing her a crowbar he had found in the supplies. The soldiers were advancing now, having figured out where they were hiding. Taeho grabbed a container of cleaning fluid and threw it at their feet. The slippery liquid made one soldier slip and fall, knocking into 2 others. "These humans fight without honor," one soldier complained. "Shut up and shoot them," another replied. Princess Nara finally got the vent cover open. "I'm through." Taeho started climbing the crates, but an energy blast hit the bottom crate and sent the whole stack wobbling. He was going to fall right into the soldier's hands. Princess Nara reached down and grabbed his wrist, pulling with surprising strength. "Hold on." Together, they squeezed through the air vent, just as more energy blasts lit up the storage bay below them. The vent was narrow and uncomfortable, but it led away from the soldiers. "Where does this go?" Taeho asked as they crawled through the metal tunnel. "Ship's main corridor," Princess Nara replied, "but there will be more soldiers waiting. Then we need a better plan than just running." They reached another vent cover and peered through the slats. The corridor outside was full of General Do-hyun's soldiers. They had taken over the entire ship. "How many of them are there?" Taeho whispered. "Too many, and they have better weapons than the ship's regular security." Taeho studied the soldiers' movements. They were very organized, very disciplined. Each one knew exactly where to stand and what to watch for. But that gave him an idea. "They're too organized," he said. "What do you mean?" "They're following a perfect plan." But what happens when something unexpected disrupts that plan? Princess Nara started to understand. Chaos. Exactly. Taeho opened his toolkit and pulled out some spare electrical wire. "Can you create a distraction? Something that will make them all look in one direction?" Princess Nara smiled. "I can do better than that." She pressed something on her wrist communicator and started speaking in her own language. Her voice echoed through the ship's speaker system, making it sound like she was broadcasting from multiple locations at once. The soldiers immediately started running in different directions, trying to track down the source of her voice. Their perfect formation fell apart as they scrambled to respond to this unexpected development. While they were distracted, Taeho quickly rewired the corridor's lighting system. When he finished, all the lights started flashing on and off in a random pattern. "Now they can't see properly either," he said with satisfaction. "Your species really does thrive in chaos," Princess Nara observed. "Chaos is just opportunity in disguise." The chaos on the ship didn't last long. Within an hour, the regular security forces had regained control and arrested General Do Hyun's rebels. But the damage was done. The attack had been broadcast live across the galaxy, and everyone saw how Taeho had protected Princess Nara. The next morning, Elder Ha-young arrived on the ship. She was even older than Elder Yi-jun, with pure white hair and skin that seemed to glow with inner light. Unlike the other alien officials, she moved slowly and spoke softly, but everyone listened when she talked. "I have come to witness the final decision," she announced to the assembled crowd in the ship's main conference room. Taeho sat at a table with Ambassador Sora on one side and Princess Nara on the other. Dozens of reporters and officials filled the room, all waiting to hear what would happen next. Elder Ha-young walked to the center of the room. "Princess Nara, according to our ancient law, you must now choose. Will you accept marriage to this human, or will you allow him to face the consequences of his violation?" The room went completely silent. Everyone knew that consequences meant death. Princess Nara stood up slowly. She looked around the room, making eye contact with several of the alien officials who had opposed the marriage. Then she looked at Taeho. "Before I answer," she said, "I want everyone to understand something. I am not choosing marriage because the law demands it. I am choosing marriage because I want it." Murmurs of surprise rippled through the crowd. This wasn't what anyone had expected. "Last night, this human risked his life to protect me," Princess Nara continued. "He could have escaped alone, but he stayed to help me. When soldiers attacked us, he didn't use weapons or violence. Instead, he used his intelligence and creativity to find a way out that kept us both safe." Prince Woo-jin, who was sitting in the front row, stood up angrily. "Princess, you are being manipulated by human emotions. This is not a logical decision." "You are right," Princess Nara replied calmly. "It is not logical. It is something much more important than logic." "What could be more important than logic?" Prince Woo-jin demanded. "Hope." Elder Ha-young raised her hand for silence. "Explain what you mean, child." Princess Nara walked over to stand next to Taeho. "Our people have become so focused on logic and perfection that we have forgotten how to grow. We solve every problem the same way our ancestors did. We never try anything new because new things might fail." She took Taeho's hand. "But humans are different. They fail all the time, and then they learn from their failures. They adapt. They find new solutions to old problems. Last night proved that human thinking can save lives in ways our logical thinking never could." "So you believe this human can help our entire species?" Elder Ha-young asked. "I believe our species can help each other," Princess Nara said. "Humans can teach us to be flexible and creative. We can teach them patience and long-term planning. Together we might be able to solve problems that neither species could handle alone." Taeho squeezed her hand. He was amazed by how clearly she could explain ideas that he was still trying to understand himself. Elder Ha-young studied them both for a long moment. Then she smiled. "In all my years, I have never heard a royal marriage proposal based on mutual benefit to entire civilizations." "Is that good or bad?" Taeho asked nervously. It is unprecedented, Elder Ha-Young replied, which makes it very interesting. She walked closer to them. Tell me, human, do you accept this marriage proposal? Not because the law demands it, but because you see the same possibilities that Princess Nara sees. Tae-ho thought about everything that had happened over the past week. A week ago, he had been a simple security guard with a boring job. Now he was being asked to marry an alien princess and help bridge two completely different civilizations. It was terrifying. It was crazy. It was the biggest risk he had ever been asked to take. Yes, he said firmly, I accept. Elder Ha-Young nodded approvingly. Then I declare this union to be blessed by cosmic destiny. Sometimes the universe creates unexpected situations to force us down new paths. The room exploded with noise as reporters started shouting questions and officials began arguing among themselves. But Elder Ha-Young wasn't finished. Silence, she commanded, and her voice cut through all the chaos. This marriage will proceed, but it will not be a traditional royal wedding. Instead, it will be the first interspecies unity ceremony designed to celebrate the joining of two different ways of thinking. Ambassador Sora leaned over to Tae-ho. Congratulations, she whispered. You just made galactic history. I just hope we can live up to everyone's expectations, Tae-ho whispered back. Princess? Nara heard him and smiled. We don't have to be perfect, she said quietly. We just have to keep trying new things and learning from our mistakes. Very human philosophy, Tae-ho said. Very good philosophy, Princess Nara corrected. The wedding day arrived faster than anyone expected. In just 2 weeks, the diplomatic ship had been transformed into something that looked like a floating palace. Decorations from dozens of different planets covered every surface, creating a rainbow of colors and textures that no one had ever seen before. Tae-ho stood in his quarters, trying to figure out how to wear the ceremonial outfit that had been designed for him. It was a mix of human formal wear and alien royal clothing, a black suit jacket with traditional Korean details, combined with a flowing cape made from fabric that seemed to change color when he moved. So you looked nervous, Captain Minho said, entering the room. The ship's captain had volunteered to officiate the ceremony, since no one could agree on which planet's traditions to follow. I am nervous, Tae-ho admitted. 3 billion people are watching this live across the galaxy. What if I mess something up? Then you'll be the first groom in galactic history to mess up his wedding, Captain Minho said with a smile. Sounds very human to me. That's not as comforting as you think it is. Captain Minho helped him adjust the cape. You know, when I first heard about this situation, I thought you were either very unlucky or very stupid. Thanks for the confidence boost. Let me finish. Now I think you might be the luckiest man in the galaxy. You're about to marry someone who sees the best in both your species and hers. That's rare in any universe. Through the window, Tae-ho could see hundreds of ships from different planets gathering around them. Some were sleek and modern. Others looked like they were built from crystals or living metal. He had never imagined that so many different types of beings existed. It's time, Captain Minho announced. The ceremony was being held in the ship's main hangar, which had been converted into a massive hall. Representatives from over 200 planets filled the space. Some looked almost human. Others were so alien that Tae-ho couldn't even figure out which end was their head. As he walked down the aisle, Tae-ho spotted his parents in the front row. They had flown in from Earth and still looked completely overwhelmed by everything. His mother was crying happy tears, while his father kept staring at all the alien guests with fascination. At the altar, Elder Ha-Young waited alongside Captain Minho. Behind them, a massive screen showed the ceremony being broadcast to billions of viewers across the galaxy. Then the music changed, and Princess Nara appeared at the far end of the hall. She looked absolutely stunning. Her dress was made from a material that seemed to be woven from starlight itself, flowing and shifting like liquid silver. Her silver hair was decorated with tiny crystals that caught the light with every movement. But what made Tae-ho's heart race was the huge smile on her face. As she walked toward him, representatives from different planets stood and offered blessings in their own languages. Some sang, others played musical instruments that sounded like nothing from Earth, and a few simply glowed in beautiful patterns. She's beautiful, Captain Minho whispered to Tai-Ho. "She's perfect," Tai-Ho replied. When Princess Nara reached the altar, she took his hands. "Ready to change the galaxy?" she asked quietly. "With you?" "Absolutely." Captain Minho began the ceremony. "We are gathered here today to witness something that has never happened before in recorded galactic history. Two beings from different worlds, different species, different ways of thinking, have chosen to unite, not just their lives, but their civilizations." The crowd listened in complete silence. Even the usually noisy reporters were quiet. "Tai-Ho of Earth," Captain Minho continued, "do you promise to respect Princess Nara's heritage while sharing your own? Do you promise to help build bridges between your peoples?" "I do," Tai-Ho said, his voice carrying clearly through the hall. "Princess Nara of Velkara, do you promise to honor Tai-Ho's humanity while sharing your wisdom? Do you promise to help create a new path forward for both your species?" "I do," Princess Nara replied. Elder Ha Young stepped forward. "By the ancient laws of Velkara and the new hopes of tomorrow, I pronounce you united in marriage and purpose." The hall erupted in celebration. Beings from hundreds of worlds cheered in their own ways. Some clapped, others sang, and a few shot colorful lights into the air. But Tai-Ho and Princess Nara weren't finished yet. "Before we celebrate," Princess Nara announced, her voice amplified, so everyone could hear, "we want to share something with all of you." Tai-Ho stepped forward. "Princess Nara and I have decided to create the Interspecies Innovation Council. It will be a place where different species can work together to solve problems that affect us all." "Too many civilizations work alone," Princess Nara added. "But imagine what we could accomplish if we combined human creativity with Velkarian, patience or Zentari engineering with mollusk philosophy." A Zentari representative in the audience stood up. "What kind of problems would this council address?" "Diseases that affect multiple species," Tai-Ho replied. "Environmental disasters, pirates who attack trade routes, anything that's too big for one planet to handle alone." "And how would it work?" asked a being that looked like a walking tree. Princess Nara smiled. "Very carefully, with lots of trial and error. We'll probably fail at some things, but that's how progress happens." The crowd started buzzing with excitement. Representatives were already talking to each other about possibilities and ideas. As Tai-Ho and Princess Nara walked back down the aisle as husband and wife, he realized that this was just the beginning. They weren't just married now. They were partners in the biggest experiment the galaxy had ever seen. 6 months after the wedding, Tai-Ho barely recognized his life. He and Princess Nara had set up their headquarters on a space station orbiting between Earth and Velkara. The Interspecies Innovation Council had grown from an idea into a bustling organization with representatives from 50 different planets. "Tai-Ho, you need to see this," Dr. Jiwoo called from across the main laboratory. She was a human scientist who had volunteered to work on the first joint research projects. Tai-Ho walked over to where Jiwoo was examining a plant under a microscope. The plant looked normal enough, except it was glowing with a soft blue light. "What am I looking at?" he asked. "This is a potato from Earth," Jiwoo explained excitedly, "but we've modified it using Velkarian bioenhancement techniques. It can now grow in soil that's too toxic for normal crops." "That's incredible. How did you figure that out?" "Pure accident," Jiwoo laughed. "I was trying to follow the Velkarian procedure exactly, but I messed up the measurements. Instead of failure, I got something even better than what we were aiming." Fair's Princess Nara joined them, looking at the glowing potato with amazement. "My people would have thrown this away and started over when the measurements were wrong." "Good thing humans are too stubborn to give up," Tai-Ho said. "Or too curious," Jiwoo added. "When I saw it glowing, I had to find out why. Turns out the mistake created a new type of energy storage in the plant cells. This was exactly the kind of breakthrough the Innovation Council had been hoping for. Human willingness to experiment combined with alien advanced knowledge was producing results that neither species could achieve alone." Tai-Ho's tablet buzzed with an incoming call. The face of Ambassador Raynar from the Centauri system appeared on the screen. "Tai-Ho, congratulations on your latest success," she said. "The toxic soil remediation project has caught our attention. We have 17 planets in our system with similar problems. We'd be happy to help." Tejo replied. Are you interested in joining the Innovation Council? Actually, we want to propose something bigger. What if we created similar councils in other parts of the galaxy, each one focusing on different types of problems? Princess Nara leaned into the camera view. That's an interesting idea. What did you have in mind? A medical innovation council for cross-species diseases, an environmental council for planetary. A restoration, maybe even a cultural exchange council to prevent misunderstandings like the one that started this whole situation. Tejo felt excitement building in his chest. You mean expand the entire concept? Why not? Your ordered chaos philosophy is already spreading. 3 other species have started their own experimental programs based on your model. After the call ended, Tejo and Princess Nara walked to the station's observation deck. Through the massive windows, they could see ships from dozens of planets docking and departing. Scientists, engineers, artists, and philosophers from across the galaxy now came here to work together. Do you ever miss your old life? Princess Nara asked, taking his hand. Tejo thought about it. 6 months ago, he had been a simple security guard walking the same corridors every day. Now he was helping to reshape how entire civilizations work together. Sometimes I miss how simple everything was, he admitted. But I wouldn't change what we're doing, even though it's stressful and unpredictable. Especially because it's stressful and unpredictable. That's when the best discoveries happen, Princess Nara smiled. Very human answer. You're starting to sound human yourself. Good. And you're starting to think more like a Velkarian when it comes to long-term planning. They stood together watching. The constant flow of ships and people. Each arrival brought new ideas, new problems to solve, and new opportunities for unexpected solutions. Dr. Jiwoo appeared beside them, holding a datapad full of reports. Oh, you two need to see the latest numbers. Good news or bad news? Tejo asked. Incredible news. The Glowing Potato Project has inspired 17 different research teams. We've got applications for enhanced food crops, new energy sources, and even a potential treatment for the Rigel plague. All from one mistake, Princess Nara asked. All from one happy accident, Jiwoo corrected, and that's just this week's results. Tejo looked out at the stars, thinking about all the civilizations out there. Some were probably making their own happy accidents right now, discovering things they never expected to find. What are you thinking about? Princess Nara asked. I'm thinking about a security guard who walked into the wrong room at the wrong time and accidentally started a galactic revolution. Do you think it was really an accident? Tejo considered the question. Everything that had happened seemed so unlikely, so perfectly timed. The power failure, the open door, the ancient law, even General Do-hyun's attack that proved human tactics could work. Maybe there are no real accidents, he said finally. Maybe there are just opportunities waiting for someone brave enough to see them. Princess Nara squeezed his hand. Then here's to more happy accidents, and to the people crazy enough to turn accidents into adventures. As they watched, another ship arrived from a planet they'd never heard of. Soon its passengers would be sharing their knowledge and learning from others. The galaxy was changing, one unexpected discovery at a time.